Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yay.
All right. All right. This may be our last Spellburn for a while as we do some rebuilding and rethinking, but we have a lot in store tonight. We're going to go full on glow and talk third-party products for our mutant crawl cousin. We're going to go deep in some emails and hang out with some old friends prior to reuniting with even more old friends at GaryCon in just a few days. I'm Judge Julian, and with me is Judge Jen,
Hello, hello.
Judge James,
Howdy.
and the sartorially magnificent Judge Scott.
Ahoy.
And Judge James, why don't you walk us on over to the tavern?
Yes, come right this way on my corner of the bar. Um, let's see.
Sticky over here. Oh,
I
sorry.
oh hey, not me. That's not me. That was the
Counter
other
talk.
guy. The other guy. Um, let's see. This since last time I went to CincyCon down by Cincinnati, Ohio, and that was a good time. I think it's a smaller wargaming convention, but there's a bit of a mini RPG takeover, DCC takeover. Um, so there was myself, there was Luau Lu, there was Nick Baran, there was Ed Stanek, and there was Trevor Stamper running the booth, selling the goods, pushing the merch, and I had a really nice time there. I ran two games. I ran a playtest of River of Lies, and when they got to the ending, I'm not going to give it away, but their minds were blown. They were just like, "What?" So it was a good twist at the end of River of Lies. Of
Nice.
course, yes. And then I also got to play a game of Netcrawl too, so the playtests continue there. And all in all, I had a really nice time. New con, going to a new con, and seeing new people and seeing a bunch of fellow creators. So it was pretty cool. What about you, Julian?
Just prepping for GaryCon, prepping, printing stuff, hoping the toner doesn't give out because it's my last cartridge. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And GaryCon is almost here, and I will be hanging out Saturday 3:30 to 4:30 at the GaryCon bar. You know, the main one in the Geneva that you kind of can't miss in the middle of everything. So there'll probably be like a giant Black Sabbath / wedding thing right at that time, but who cares? Anyway, we'll be there somewhere. So come over and hang out if you're hearing this before then. We'll have some swag to give away and stuff. And then I'll just also mention, hey, we had a TPK in the Old Planet Skull campaign. I think that was episode 24.
Wow.
And it all hinged on ultimately, as somebody glow burned a huge amount and did infinite D6 to the bad guy plus his party mates. That was Tim Locris, by the way. It all hinged on whether one can burn luck to lower a result versus only raise a result, which I ruled by the book as only a raise. We have Grape Ape in the chatter here, so maybe he'll tell me I'm wrong. But what do you guys think?
You're not wrong. We've had this discussion a million times. I will die on
Exactly.
this hill.
Wait,
Exactly.
the mutation check had infinite die six.
Well, it was the highest check. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
It's a mega mutation, so you know.
so of course it's got to be infinity damage.
Infinite D6. It's like infinity, but it's
It's
times D6.
how do you know what the value is if you have infinite d6s? There's no values actually.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
enough to kill you, I think.
I'm
Well,
gonna let our listeners and viewers ponder that while Judge Jen tells us about her month, day, week, truck.
It's kind of been a blur. I am actually still here at the Fortress of the Chaos Lords, packing the final bits of what's coming to GaryCon with us so that I can hit the road tomorrow. And it is, yeah, a little late for me, so sorry if I'm a little punchy. Not a whole lot in the way of gaming because holy crap, busy all of a sudden. Not even all of a sudden, really, but just, it just, yeah, it's hitting. It's hitting like your printer, Julian.
Exactly. Hey, can you do me a
Yeah.
favor? In that third box from the bottom, there's one adventure I didn't want you to bring. Can you just go unpack it all and then take that guy out and then pack it all back in there, please?
I'm sorry. Our Chaos Lords have left for the evening.
Mm.
You're just gonna have to suck it up.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair.
You can hide it if you see it at the booth. No, no, don't touch my merch, Julian. Uh,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
but I'm really stoked for it. Lily, Wayne's daughter, is going to be my number one at the booth.
Oh,
Nice.
And yeah, we'll have a couple other, shall we say, guest stars popping in every now and then. But I don't even have to give you guys a booth number because the minute the doors open, we're right there. It's
wow.
pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really, I don't know, Julian, should I bring the Appendix N with us? Because I might have like that much room left in the van, and I might be able to get it.
Of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, just surf them on the top of all the boxes, you know.
Yeah, right. Just strap it on with some, yeah, whatever the bungee cords, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know how right you are.
Judge
Oh,
Scott.
shoot, it's late. Thank you for the reminder. I have
Yes.
bungee cords. So yeah, that's pretty much been my life for the past however long. And it was beautiful here, and now it's snowing again just in time to hit the road
Mm,
for GaryCon.
of course.
So, enough about that. Scott, we have a guest. How
Yeah.
you been, buddy?
I've been
How's
good.
How's your gaming life been lately?
It's been lacking somewhat. When COVID hit, my local group dispersed, and I mean they're just not ready to get back together. But I'm about to course them back in the month of April to my home for a Call of Cthulhu Delta Green game, hopefully.
Mm.
Mm.
Nice.
Otherwise, I've been doing a lot of editing for RPGs. I still work for Art of the Genre, which does mostly 1E, 5E adventures, and he's very prolific, so I'm always editing something for him. And other than that, I've been working on this top secret adventure.
Top secret.
Ooh.
All right. Well, you know
We're
what?
about to rip that Band-Aid off, aren't we?
We're about to unpack this like a truck. So with no further ado, I declare we shall summon the purple pirate. So introducing Scott, he is our publisher of Purple Pirate Games. For those of you on Twitch right now, you can see that he's got just a kind of marvelous purple shirt going here. Well, no, kind of, I don't know. It's more
Bluish,
blue.
but
Well, it's got like a purple stripe on it. What is that? Purple,
it's all
magenta.
over the place.
Yeah, it's a lot of colors. It's mostly
Wow.
blue. It's 90% blue. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. It's
Scott's
but it
always
is
dressed fabulously.
Scott
Hey,
is
you've got me beat tonight with that awesome
Hey,
T-shirt.
I am repping. What can I say?
Thank you so
Jen.
much.
Gotta rep
Jen
Purple
has
Pirates.
the purple pirate T-shirt. She's ripping big time. So, Scott has been doing bespoke DCC and MCC adventures here for some years now, and we're going to announce his third project shortly. But and then if you're like Scott Swift, that sounds kind of familiar. And then fancy dress, like you may remember Scott as the guy with the full-on purple sparkling suit and the ruffled shirt and that stuff.
Platform shoes, don't forget.
Platform
Oh, God.
shoes, right, from like Gamehole Con and Gary's past.
Like a crushed velvet trench coat with it or something. Yeah, it was
Mm,
Double-breasted.
eye-catching.
right. It's kind of
Warm.
a
I don't know what
disco
comes over me.
Doctor Who cosplay thing. So, Scott, tell us about your adventures, your first and second adventures. Give us a little background.
So, I was out of gaming for quite a while just because college and life and everything. But I moved up to Milwaukee. I didn't know anybody, so I'm got a group of people to play with, and we're playing second edition D&D. And that was pretty fun. And then I started backing these Kickstarters, and I noticed there was just a ton of editing needs there. And I started contacting the people saying, hey, let me fix this before you go to print, because this is super annoying, like from the PDF. And it just evolved into like a kind of a second job, like a hobby job for me. With a big nod to Zach Glazer. He used to be with Lesser Known, but now he's moved on up in the world, and he gave me a start. And then I just thought, I can write this myself. I've been doing all this other stuff for everybody, and I just want to do this myself. So I contacted a local printer. I bumped into a couple of amazing local artists at a convention, Stinky Goblin, and said, hey, can you do my artwork for me? Because they had some amazing artwork, leather work. They're just super talented people. And they were like, yeah, for sure. So the only drawback is they take a long time to get it done, but that's worth it. That's why I only release something about every other year. But that's the special deal I have with these two. And it definitely pays off if you've seen any of my adventures. I don't like to brag about myself, but I will brag about those artists, man. They are phenomenal.
The artists are pretty great. Now,
Yeah.
your first adventure was kind of, if I recall correctly, because it's been a little bit, like you said, it was a first level adventure, if I recall, and it was sort of DCC or MCC. Is that right?
Yeah, it might have been before MCC even existed. It was a kind of a mashup of science fiction and fantasy, which I always enjoy. It's Secrets of the World Harvesters. I don't know. But right now, the PDF is for free on Drive Through RPG if you want to go look at it for both of my previous adventures. It's a little thing I'm doing.
Well,
Now, how do you pronounce the second one? The
Uh,
Discord of.
Well, it's a demon's name, so you never actually want to pronounce it properly.
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
That explains a lot.
yeah, Jen.
I don't think I've ever actually pronounced it properly, but it's a discordance with Disvats. So,
I just that cover has a special spot with me.
oh yeah, it's a Stefan Poe gift.
Yes.
This was I don't know if I should tell the whole story, but it was kind of a rescue. Like this writer, I didn't write this one. A writer came to me and said, "Can you publish this?" And he had some artwork already done, and I said, "Yeah, if I can add about 60 pieces of art to it and edit it again." And he's like, "Sure." So yeah, I couldn't publish it the way it was. So I had to juice it up quite a bit.
Well,
Of
I think
course.
the production values on your stuff are pretty out of sight. Lots of art, and that's I think that's the part of the story with Purple Pirate is terrific production, terrific art, and lots of it. And do you want to tell us about your third adventure?
Yes. So again, I did not write this third adventure.
I heard it was some bum.
Yeah, well,
Some hack.
Yeah.
I recruited, the best and the brightest from all the surrounding areas, and I only came up with Julian Burnick for the
Well,
rest.
yeah. I mean, I was the best and brightest for that part of the hallway at Gamehole Con, like in 2019 or something.
Yeah, who knows what we were thinking at the time, but we schemed up a plan, and it finally came to fruition, and it's all ready. And I did do that year-long wait to get my artist to just make it beautiful, and he's come through.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
You let it sit for a full year before publishing it just to give the artist time?
yeah,
Okay,
Right. Yeah, we're yeah.
No, as an editor, I'm fascinated by this. Do you then go back over it again
Oh yeah.
and like retweak it a little bit? And
Yeah, like multiple
what's your
times.
process?
Um,
Okay.
Well, I get the well, if I'm writing it, there's that whole process, but I don't really have much time to write. Like I can write, and I have a few different things for different companies, and I actually write better for other people when I'm editing. When I have an idea to work with, I can reword it. And I'm like a content editor more so than just a typo editor. And I can't work with the weak at heart because they'll be offended if I, change something. But so I do all that sort of like heavy-handed editing sometimes. I didn't have to with Julian because he's just, a wordsmith.
Hmm.
But typically I do. So once I get the manuscript, as I'm reading and I'm writing down ideas for artwork, and I'm like, hey, and I get like 15 or so or more pieces, and then I hand it to my artist, who is my layout guy too. And if you ever publish, finding artists is pretty easy, not super easy, but finding a layout guy is very difficult, from what I hear. Not for me, but this guy just does all sorts of fun stuff with it, and borders. Every page has a different, like
Oh yeah.
backing. There's no dearth of art and creativity. And anyway, he gives it back, and then I re-edit it again just to make sure nothing got cut off, or you could lose a paragraph in the layout, and
Sure.
this is too close to that, and then just one more scan to make sure the things weren't missed by me. And then he
So-
says, hey, can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, you can. I always say yes to the guy because it blows me away what he can do.
He has correctly captured the flavor of, it's an MCC adventure, but it is kind of full on gonzo cosmic horror. Definitely kind of a horror adventure, I would say. And those I play tested it at mini cons. So if people have done an MCC third level adventure with me over the years, yes, this is the one that a lot of people die at the end with the helicopter and the giant baby and all that good stuff. So anyway, yes, it's been quite a fun ride to run this. In fact, the first time I ever ran it at GaryCon, one Sunday morning, I had Stephen Newton and Brendan in my small group, and Clayton Williams, I believe. It was a small but stellar group. Maybe we had one other guy, I can't remember, but that was quite a stellar group. Yeah, we've had a blast putting this together. It has taken a while to just let the art ferment and the layout just build, and there's handouts, so the background, instead of reading a wall of texts, there's things to show people and give them, almost like little comic panels, and I think it's really different and really cool. So I'm just going to say, as we're sitting here real time, we're $20 from funding. So if you're sitting here watching us on Twitch, just buy Grape Ape a third copy right now, and he'll love you forever. So, and you can blame him or me as you wish.
Well, don't forget Sketch. Sketch will need 3.
And Sketch will need like a signed one and a mint one that's still wrapped, and then one signed by Haley, because of course, and right. So
it's a big adventure, isn't it? Or it's a big page count?
It's about 60 pages.
Yeah.
I launched it yesterday, and it's $20 shy from today. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it is. And it's quite a value because, this is, I don't want to say it's a huge adventure. I've run it in 4 hours. It gets a little tight, but it's possible. But it's just, there's a ton of art, maps, there's some cool extra stuff, and there's some little comic-y handouts and stuff like that. So this is not 60 pages of dense text. This is, I don't know, 30 pages of brilliant art and 20 to 25 pages of brilliant text and all that good stuff. So, absolutely, it's going to be a very substantial addition to somebody's bookcases, I hope. I'm very pleased with it, Scott. It looks just phenomenal, and what you've been showing me in the PDFs and stuff. So couldn't be happier.
Yeah, thank you.
We are gonna have to keep going and do some emails because we are backlogged. We're so busy with emails starting in August last year that I am gonna not, Scott has kind of a nervous temperament and I didn't want to risk anything, so we're not gonna descend to the crypt.
Oh,
We're
thank
just
you.
Yeah, I didn't want to subject you to that. So we're just gonna go straight to emails because we have a bunch to knock out. I'm gonna whip through these guys and I'm just gonna go, I think in alphabetical order. I'm going to go James, Jen, Scott each time and get your input, and then I'll say my stupid thing after Scott. So that's where we're going to do it. So
I
I'll try to.
appreciate knowing the expectations.
There you go. I like to make the stakes clear before we roll the dice. That's a good tactic. All right. So here, the first one I believe is from Mr. Tony Hogard, excellent gamer. And Mr. Hogard says, "Greetings, Burners. I could use some advice. I'm running 2 weekly DCC games for my RPG club at school, which is awesome, of course. The trouble is that I have 10 to 12 players showing up at the table. I hand out grimoires and reference books for players to look up their own results. For combat rules, I'm having them roll individual initiative and then go clockwise, counterclockwise. What other tips do you have for keeping a large group engaged and crawling?" James, Jen, Scott, what do you got?
Ooh, I'd say first, like, you've got 10 or 12 people. Get another GM.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Love it.
Uh,
I love it.
you might as well have fun. You're already, it's a school club or whatever. Have 2 tables. Find that kid who loves torturing his fellow classmates and promote him.
That was me.
Sorry, not helpful for 10 people, but that's my advice.
All right, Jen, what do you
agree.
got?
Oh, having run for 10 people, honestly, having a no phones rule at the table was mandatory, even for the adults, especially for the adults. Another thing to keep them all on their toes is keep initiative simple. Like the method Terry Olson used at Brinkmanomicon some years back was whoever had the highest initiative, okay, left or right, who has the highest? All right, then we're going around the table that way. And so the NPCs or the monsters just went whenever they got to the judge, in the round. And making sure that players know what they're going to do, and if you trust them, have already rolled, I think that helps speed things up.
Good idea. Definitely good idea. Tell them to roll up front. Scott, what do you got?
So I was thinking a couple different things. One's like cooperative traps, like if there's a big like door or gate, like King Kong size, you gotta get several of them lifting at the same time, and then something could happen to 1 or 2 random people. You could also do something that I call the fickle fist of fate, which for the people that are paying attention, you could reward them with some sort of random event, or the people that are not paying attention, you could punish them with some sort of random like roll and see if something bad happens to them, like a rock falling or a creature burrowing into their skin from beneath the ground or what have you.
Yeah, I like that.
Pay attention.
I like that. And I would say my only thing I'm going to add is kind of along both the initiative and what Scott was just saying. If you get, if you come to Jane or Tom and they have not rolled and they're not prepared to go, I mean, I think at 10 to 12 people, you just move on. You say, "Yep, you lost your chance." You give them 5 seconds, but if they're hemming and hawing and still and only then want to look stuff up, it's like, nope, okay, we're going on. So you get them trained up and disciplined to be ready to rock and roll. So good. So thank you, Tony. We're going to move on to Mr. Jonathan Kurtz, who writes to the dearest email zombie. Oh, the zombie.
Aww.
Has anyone ever based a DCC or MCC or any other CC game on Dr. Seuss? And hopefully, Jonathan, I think you've emailed us several times. So you have heard some of the answers in our holiday episode 126. But the answer is, of course, The Doom That Came to Christmas Town about the Grinch them from Marzio, Judge Marzio. And then
Right.
also from Mr. Bishop, we had The Thing in the Chimney, which is a classic that I think we also had discussed with Judge Dan. So 2 good answers. I'm not going to hand that one around unless anybody else has another example.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh.
Next, Jonathan
Not so
wrote
much.
us again a month later and said, the email zombie has wormed his disgusting words and ways into our hearts. Hopefully he hasn't added sclerosis or cholesterol or something equally disgusting as well. But in his first episode or 2, he was a little difficult to understand. It appears he's improved his knowledge of common or gotten or eaten a speech coach or put together a better mic from stuff he's cannibalized in the crypt, or maybe he just found a better mask, but he voted to keep the email zombie. Well, you never know. All I can say is the email zombie's not dead, obviously. Okay.
He's
Thank you,
undead.
Jonathan. He's un-dead, to be specific. Next letter from Stefan Surratt. Judge Stefan says, hey, burners, what are your favorite zines or other third-party products of 2023? There's so many that it's hard to keep track of them all. Man, it was really hard to keep track. I had to try to figure out which of the 50 I even remembered which year they were from and climb back. But I'm going to go James, Jen, Scott. So James, you're up.
I think, I'm not sure if it was last year or not, but one of Sean Richards' mags for the Dungeon Grand Prix, the one with the Hell Climb. I'm not sure if that was last year or not, but Hell Climb, that was some great world building and is really insane Dungeon Grand Prix idea.
Yes, and we had Sean with us just 2 episodes ago. Which was epic, 2 or 3. So go find that one, and it's crazy and wonderful. So make sure you've caught that one. Judge Jen, what do you got?
It's a tough one for me because I'm not able to read a whole lot of the stuff that comes out. I get to see all the pretty pictures, but I'm gonna let Stefan down with this one because I don't have any solid answers for having taken in a broad swath. That being said, I will absolutely throw out Legends of Uganda because not only did Sanctum Media have a big part in putting that together, but it is exactly what it sounds like. It's talking about old folklore and tales that children in Uganda were told as kids, children were told their version of the boogeyman and things like that. And so we've been given permission from author Ashraf Braden to use his stories and put some DCC stats to it. And I'm happy to report that, as a side note, DCC now there is a set of dice and a rule book in the middle of a tribe in Uganda, a small little village.
Oh,
so
funny.
It's been quite a ride. But that was a long way around that. Sorry. Scott, did you publish anything in 23? That'd be the easy answer.
No, I skipped that year. So my next one's 2026 probably, though. The one I'm thinking of is by another local Milwaukeean, Breaker Press Games, The Canine. You can be a dog in DCC if you want to, which I'm a dog lover, so that came to mind.
Is it CANINE?
Yeah, it's one of Nick's character classes. I thought that came out a number of years ago, I believe.
I was thinking early to 2023, but
what
year are we in anyway?
We're elastic with time right now. That's okay. So I will pick 2. Judge Phil's Xena Goodies Volume 3, which we talked about a few months back with Judge Phil. I love all those Judge Phil's zines. I think 3 is the one that had the microwave chocolate cake recipe. I might be wrong. but
Yes,
that was ridiculous, funny. And then also shout out to Critical Hit Parader, my friend Matt, yet another Matt, Critical Hit Parader #1 zine with an excellent Blue Oyster Cult adventure, Blue Oyster Cult music song themed adventure, which sounds cheesy, but he really pulls it off. And he actually ran it at a con virtually in the COVID era. I played it. It's awesome. So go check it out. He also does a podcast and an ongoing zine on rock and role-playing games. It's cool stuff. I'll link all that stuff in our show notes. So I'm moving on. We got from John Williams. He says, Kojo, the best, maybe the most prolific, but surely not the best. He's calling Kojo out. And John claims he is the greatest emailer that ever was to RPG podcasts, including Spellburn. Roll for initiative, Kojo. I will say that John Williams did record a troll sound file. Maybe we'll be able to play it someday, challenging the email zombie to a duel, which was pretty great. I mean, he didn't. He just found it. He didn't record it. You know how to. Okay. Anyway,
I love it.
Enough of that. This next one comes from a guy named Matt Robertson. Seems kind of sketchy name. He says, "Hi, email zombie, longtime listener, first time email." It's kind of a long email, but he says
that tracks.
Yeah. He wanted to write in to tell you how excited I am with the changes that have taken place on Spellburn. There's been a distinct lack of star quality, charisma, and personality from the hosting team. You know, Judge Jen is, of course, the shining light. And then the addition of Judge James to the crew, who riff off each other so naturally. But he was hoping that this might mean somebody got phased. Anyway, there's some other stuff about, you know, Packers, beer, sausage, and other things, but we're not gonna get into that too much. So he just asked to make sure that the MC duties of Spellburn would continue to undergo further reconstruction and get rid of that last anchor. Well, in a way, you might get your wish. You never know. So, but thank you, Matt, for writing, and always enjoy you, buddy. So, next up is Judge Gary, one of my oldest pals, who says, as we get ready for 2024 convention season, I was wondering if you and the email zombie had any advice for people attending their first conventions or running their first DCC or MCC games at conventions. He was lucky, haha, Matt, to have Judge Julian around to guide me through the ins and outs of Gen Con, but not everyone is as lucky as I am. Oh, could you also talk about how Goodman supports GMs at conventions as well, or even how to prepare for running games at their local conventions? James, you're up.
Well, if you are at Gen Con, Goodman Games, if you fly under their banner, you know, host under their banner, they take very good care of you. There's I think there's usually food for lunch at the Lucas Oil Stadium, and water and all sorts of kind of nice things if you happen to be at the big show. For smaller venues, you know, the basics, you know, make sure you read your stuff and you know what's going to happen, and just be loose. Be fun. You're going to be at a table with a lot of people having a lot of fun, and so laugh right along with them.
Solid. Judge Jen.
Like that. Don't give in to the rules lawyers, right?
Hmm.
They're gonna have their own interpretation of the rules. What is it? Chapter 8, the judge's chapter in the book. Second paragraph, first sentence. The judge is always right.
Indeed.
So, you know.
Yeah.
But for Gen Con, for any of the conventions, if you go to the Goodman Games website and enter your event that you're going to be running into the events calendar, you join the road crew, we send out lots of cool swag, and that is actually, we're hitting the great big reboot detonator button on that this very soon.
Very soon. Watch this space here on Goodman Games Twitch. Very good. Jen, anything else? Is that good?
I'm good.
I will say when I have been at Gen Con, Joseph used to always give us a pep talk to the judges as he was handing out badges because Goodman Games would give us the badges. And said a few things like, hey, make sure you shower because this is a gaming con. But most importantly, he says, make sure everybody has fun. Really, all I want you to do is just make sure everybody has fun. And that is actually the only advice to really worry about. So I'll leave you with the Dark Master's words of wisdom. All right.
What about Scott?
Oh, what about Scott? Scott, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, Scott
Jeez,
would
Julian.
add.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a soft-spoken pirate, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to talk kind of loud during a convention because it can be really loud.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'd recommend practicing with your home group, and if you don't have a home group, practice at a local gaming store, and that way you can
Excellent.
learn some curveballs from the players. Not all of them, because they're very creative.
That's true. Practice is excellent. Running an adventure that at a con, run it for your home team first, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Good. We've got an excellent question from Judge John Williams. We're getting late, so guys, this is true lightning round here. He wants to know he talks about Godzilla versus Mecha, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, John. But he says, my question for the show is, what movie have you seen recently that you would rephrase as an adventure? Judge James.
Why am I first? I don't know. Screw it.
I don't know. Screw it. Judge Jen.
Not necessarily. You know what? Recently, Dragonheart.
Okay. Give me one sentence why.
Because early 80s fantasy.
Okay, that works for me. I say Treasure of the Sierra Madre because Humphrey Bogart is literally a murder hobo out in Mexico, and badges, we don't got no stinking badges. So anyway, it's a friggin' phenomenal movie. Judge Scott, what do you got?
Starring Sandra Bergman, 1984.
Oh,
Brilliant.
I've got one.
Okay, Judge James.
Buckaroo Banzai and the Adventures Across the Eighth Dimension. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I was just watching it yesterday. So good.
All right. So last thing we've got a long email from Judge Keith Brush. He talks about a Doom that came to Crispin Town adventure, which is great, but we're not going to read it. But thank you, Keith. He does say that he did a demo with Brendan LaSalle, of course, who covers DCC so thoroughly, and he suggested on an episode to please have Brendan do his demo intro sometime. And that's a great idea for Alana and Jen and us and everybody to maybe do a intro to judging Brendan thing sometime. It might have already been done, but anyway, definitely an excellent suggestion, Keith. All right, we're going to drop and we're going to go to our guest who's been waiting extremely patiently. So thanks all emailers. We appreciate you. And after all the zombieing, we are actually caught up on our emails, except for the guys who emailed me to say, hey, episode 7 isn't on the website. It's actually episode 11, which we actually also fixed. And I do appreciate it. So anyway, we're going to drop. Thank you, Scott. And Judge Greg, we're going to be bringing him on and talk about a little more MCC in just a second. All right, we're back. Thank you to Judge Scott for being with us and helping us clear out those emails. We're back now with yet another MCC. Is it fair to say, Greg, author and publisher?
So no, I'm actually the publisher.
Okay.
But I have kind of like an indie background that's worth talking about. But to simplify it, to clarify, I'm not the author.
Okay, no problem. Well, we've got Judge Greg here with us, and you've got a new project out there called now I'm not sure if I'm going to say right, Jer's Home?
That's perfect. That's exactly right.
Okay, great. Well, you've spelled it like I would say it, so that's good. So tell us a little bit about the new project.
So diving right into what Jer's home is it's really a place. It's a village built amongst the remains of a massive robot, and it's inhabited by mutant possums with psychic powers who have salvaged the scrap from the downed mech and built walls to keep out the rabble and the monsters and the whatnot. And it's led by this this village is led by a charismatic but very enigmatic leader named Jer, which is where the story gets its name. And in this center, they've got a whole economy and a society, and have built even their own religion inside of the safety of these walls.
So are we talking, is it like a mech type of robot, or is it more like a 50s giant, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. I mean,
Robbie
it's,
type, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's only a couple of illustrations of it, and it's really up to your mind's eye. But I think mostly it looks like just it's disassembled and reassembled into walls and into buildings. So you only see like a hand sticking up here or a boot over there at the gate wall. So
That's morbid. I like it.
Is there any like live munitions still in the robots? Some sort of
There's lots of mystery
Yeah.
around this bot. Like there's essentially that's what you're doing is you're this place is filled with mystery and stuff that you don't know what's going on with the bot.
I like
Is
it.
it dead? I don't know. Maybe not.
You decide, right?
And
Oh, yeah.
who is do we know the writer on this? Is he somebody who's done some stuff before, or is he a new guy breaking in?
No,
Or gal breaking in?
he's totally new. So I run Electi Studio. We produce mostly tabletop war games. But when I heard the premise of this, I was like, man, I have to make this, and I have to make miniatures of mutant possums and all this stuff. The guy's name is Jacob Franklin, and yeah, he's just he came to me with a Gamma World supplement, and then there's a little bit of a story behind us switching to MCC. But yeah, he's brand new.
I'm very curious, Greg. How long have you been a fan of DCC/MCC?
So that's kind of the funny story. Is like I got this Gamma World supplement in my inbox, and I am a total newbie when it comes to MCC and DCC. But how I interacted with it by like going to KublaCon, which is in the South Bay of San Francisco, and I had bought these books that just kind of sat on my shelf based solely upon the cover art of
Happens to the best of us.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this stuff and I'll play with my friends at some point, and just it never came around. And when this Gamma World supplement came to me, I was like, where have I heard that name before? And it was from the intro of Mutant Crawl Classics. So I pulled out the book and was like, oh yeah, it's in this thing. So yeah, I'm pretty new.
Oh,
Well,
that's
welcome.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome
I'm really
to the family. It's great to have
So-
some fresh blood.
so
Yeah.
you've got a interesting kind of different take on this, being more of coming a war game background, but doing an MCC. Like, do you think I'm guessing this is kind of a different product, at least a little bit in look and feel, because you come from a different kind of publishing background. Are you seeing that? Are you trying to do that? How is it working?
Well, again, this is driven mostly like actually how I've interacted with you guys. I reached out to James in an email and was like, dude, I don't know anyone in the RPG scene at all. I started this project purely out of just thinking it was awesome, and that if someone came to me with it, like I want to do it. So for me, the biggest difference is miniatures, right? In my mind, it's like this has to have miniatures, and so I produced like 25 miniatures or something like that, and that's not normal for DCC and MCC.
No.
And that's okay. Like I realized I just have to embrace the difference. Like this is kind of like it being expressed through my my sort of style of publishing. But yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned like miniatures but Erica Barlow,
Yeah.
they always are doing miniatures alongside of their MCC products.
Yeah. And
The mutant mini. Oh shoot, I forget the
It's-
name of them.
it is
Their warehouse
Mutant.
finds them.
Yes. It is Mutant Mayhem Minis.
Yep.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Quick on the Google.
And you can still get them online.
Absolutely. I'll put them in I'll try to write myself a reminder to throw those in there. So it is weird that like I can't think of a DCC project that's done that, but
Right.
but there are two prominent kick butt MCC projects that have done it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So tell us about the minis now, because that's pretty interesting and cool. So how many did you say?
Right now in the Kickstarter, I believe there's 20 available, but we had more. I had to like pull back because it was overshadowing the book product. So, but it's like we wanted to have a whole suite of MCC figures. So you get all the standard classes. So you have like what is it, 5 or 6 of the plantoid mutant. And we did a bunch of specific animal mutant types. And those were because of how prolific and important the possum characters in the story are. There's a ton about they have like a caste system and all kinds of stuff. So we really wanted to make all 3 of those. And then we created the monsters of the region. And so there's like the Gothra, which are, Rocksteady and Bebop style warthogs on motorcycles and, like access to better technology that's been floating around. And then also just different regions, like the Ever Neon Forest has these sentient trees that just come out and attack you. Or the Glittereek River has the Barcode, which is kind of like a mysterious, kind of like just they are like ugly fish people, and you don't know whether to attack them or they're going to attack you, or if there's other means of communication available.
Are they friendly? Are they mean? Are they delicious?
Yeah,
those are the 3 questions you've always got to ask.
And in my experience with Mutant Crawl Classics, playing through like basically the road to this location, the GM told me after, or the judge told me after, he was like, you don't have to kill everything. You could just have left. Like we almost got killed by some hornets, like some massive hornets. And he's like, you could have just left the place and that you'd been fine and you would have gotten experience. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Different style.
Of course.
Yeah. That's not the war gamey thing to do, but but my Napoleonic army must, etc. But no, but that's pretty cool. How did the author respond when you came back to him and said, well, I like your Gamma World thing, but have you heard of this MCC thing that's kind of still out there being published, I assume, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think we had a couple of meetings about it, and I pitched it to him kind of like, if we're going to do this and we're like, I really want to do this one, let's do it to something that's living and happening right now. And not to be like the new news, the most important thing to do or something like that. It just was important to me that it's like easy access. And of course the third party support was huge, figuring that out and seeing the thing, just the support that Goodman Games puts behind third party publishers. I came to him and was like, this is the crew we want to be with. And I like, go get a copy and review it and talk to me about it after. And he came back with a manuscript that had been adjusted to MCC stats like later that week, I think.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. Was he familiar to begin with at all, or was he?
Well, no, this guy was just playing Gamma World. He was just playing Gamma World. He's a young guy and like just happened to like find himself in a group that had dug up, a Gamma World copy and started to play it. And I was like, look, I think that in this circumstance, you're the ultimate hipster. And like to share this with others, if you want to publish it, we probably need to think about like beyond just,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
No.
mean, MCC is the love child of Gamma World and DCC, right? So
Yeah.
he had one parent down.
Yeah, little Metamorphosis Alpha in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will say a lot of people listening might say, oh, well, they're not part of the community. Why should I support them? And I would retort with, you just answered your own question. You absolutely should be welcoming the new people into our community and embracing the new creativity that they provide us or that they bring us.
For
Yeah.
sure.
You're
So-
right, Jen.
Pardon?
I just said, you're right, Jen.
I couldn't have said it better myself. No, absolutely. And you know what? Some of us are old. Some of us are older than others. Some of us have longer beards than others. But we do want to keep the pipeline of newbies coming in to the hobby in general, right? And all the time, all peoples everywhere is coming in and picking up the dice. So absolutely.
Yeah, I was, when you reached out and was just like, "Hey, help," I was just like, "Yeah, come on, here's all the resources. Join this Discord, join that, join the Facebook group. You're gonna get lots of friends real quick."
Yeah, and I have. It's been so great. Like if I track, I'm kind of a marketing nerd as well, and so I'm like looking at who's backing the campaign on BackerKit for Jared's Home, which closes in a few days.
Right.
I was like, just the amount of recurring backers for my other campaigns is so low. Like we have, this has been so fun just to completely enter into the community and be a part of this and learning how this whole scene works. And meeting Joe at I went to Gamma Expo and had a meeting with him, and it was really fun. It's been really cool to support, and I've said it multiple times in the campaign updates, but it just has been, if you're watching and you supported, it means the world to me that we can get behind crazy ideas and put out cool, fun stuff that doesn't have to be, commercial tsunamis out there of just like, this story deserved to be told in a way that was fun and an expression from, kind of my weird way of looking at it. So I appreciate you and thank you.
It's a nice looking product. I think it's full color, right, throughout. It looks really pretty. And I know it's all black and white and that's DCC, but these look really nice. And I think, I'm not sure you mentioned it, but it's kind of like an East Marches kind of setup, right? Where you've got like a home base and you're going out to a bunch of places. And
yeah, so it's actually just so weird. I struggled to know how to explain what it is, but that's probably the closest thing. It's not a hex crawl, right? Like it doesn't have like a good, you go out and explore these specific places. What it is it's really about the place and giving the judges the freedom to set like a kind of a home base, right? Where you can sell and buy things, and you can connect with the main character, Jer. You can connect with him and run missions for him so that you start to learn a little bit more about the mysteries of the place. And you can use it as a launching pad for those different things. And then we give you sort of like tables and things for each of the regions to kind of prompt some nice. Cool ideas. But the real thing is about this specific town and just going really deep on one town, so that as a judge you can pick up your new favorite adventure and plug it into one of the regions that makes sense for it.
And that's something that's kind of really missing maybe throughout the line in general, is like these kind of home bases that you can play your game out of for months and months and years.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the new village of Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I love
the village
it.
of what?
Hamlet.
Hoblet.
Omelet.
We're getting old now on
We're
you.
getting
so.
really old.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We're putting the old school. Putting the old into
That's
the
cool.
old school.
We'll link the village of Hamlet in the
Yes.
show notes.
So so
And
Greg,
I
go ahead.
see that you've made your goal already
Yes.
on
Yes.
Backer Kit. That is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. I mean,
And-
it's been solely because of everyone's support. So just really thankful.
DCC
Julian.
solidarity.
Oh
That's
yeah.
all
And
dirty.
Julian, you're like one backer away from me congratulating you too.
I know. Somehow Grape Ape is keeping people off he's running a DDoS on Kickstarter right now or something. So don't Matt, okay, I yield. I surrender. So Greg, it's been
Yes.
awesome to have you. And by the way, I was just looking at the Backer Kit page again. The minis are off the hook. They just look awesome. Are people, if they missed out, because I don't know when this is going to drop online in terms of the podcast. I mean, obviously people viewing should immediately go and back you,
Mhm.
but people who are listening to this, the Backer Kit may or may not have like a day left when this episode drops. Are you going to make that stuff available eventually, like on Goodman Games or Drive Through RPG or something like that?
Yeah, most likely it'll be available. I know that the Goodman Games team backed it at a retailer level, so some copies will definitely be there, and definitely looking forward to ongoing relationship there,
Awesome.
as well as some other things we've been working on for that, and it'll be on Backer Kit probably, a little bit.
Yeah, some pre-order, right? You can usually do
Yeah.
pre-order during
Right.
the fulfillment.
Most importantly, more stuff for Jen to ship from the warehouse. So
She's missing,
She
she's got
says-
Not me personally, but I mean I was excited to see those other minis over in the catacombs. So getting to unbox more variety of items it kind of brightens our day.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, I think, Julian, the big thing is the miniatures. If you want in on the miniatures, got to figure out a way to get on the pre-order or the back it now kind of train, because of how small and how niche this is. I'm going to have to do a very small run. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in it, jump on it now. It may be a long time
now.
before I can work up
So if you're sitting here on Twitch watching, take that link I threw in the chat and start pumping it out to your pals and say, "Hey, I'm kind of broke right now, but could you buy some minis for our table?" And get all your friends to get some possum dudes and Plantians, Sentinels, Rovers, the whole deal. The gang's all here. They look terrific. So great job, Greg. We got to
Thank
wrap
you.
it up.
And there are four.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say status quo for war games is to have STLs. So that may be a little outside of what's normal here, but if you guys like STLs and printing, those are available on the Backer Kit as well. So.
Okay.
I know there's a market for that.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely is. So we are going to have to wrap it up. I want to thank Greg here, and Backer Kit for Jer's Home is open for 4 more days. So make sure you get out and take a look at that and back it and get some sweet ass minis. And also, of course, go to Purple Pirate Games Kickstarter for Installation 665. That is our product that Scott and I've been toiling on for years and years. So give us some love. We need it. We got to buy Scott a new purple suit, the whole thing. So,
And you're funded.
and hey, look at that! I was hoping it would happen on this show. So thank you, thanks everybody who's a
Congrats.
lot of friends have jumped in so far, and thanks everybody who's listening, who's yet to fund but will, yet to back us but will. I appreciate it very much in advance. This may, as I said before, may be our last show for a while, but we are around. We're not dead. Who knows? We'll be back around in some way, shape, or form in some time or another. So we appreciate you guys watching us, listening to us in the Twitch era. And we want to thank Glitter Wizard, Loot the Body, St. Karloff for their permission to use all the tunes. We've got a working email account at spellburnband@gmail.com, and all our episodes, all 130 or so, are available on spellburn.net. So that's really it. Judge James, any last words?
Yeah, I think during our time of technical troubles, I said that I was going to be releasing a preview copy of Netcrawl on Drive-Thru RPG. I'm not sure I mentioned that at the top at the tavern talk section, part 2 or redo. So watch Drive-Thru RPG, as I am going to be releasing a preview copy of Netcrawl for the public.
Yes, and I will get that in the show notes. Brilliant. Thank you, James. Judge Jen.
Oh, it's been a heck of a ride, hasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Phew, yeah. Thanks everyone for continuing to tune in and keep spell burning.
All right. Judge Greg, anything else?
Just thank you.
You got it.
Our pleasure.
All right. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks everybody from us, and the final thanks to Twitch Mistress Alana for being our hostess for a year plus, and nothing else to say but game on.
You